A very good morning and a warm welcome to one and all present over here, teachers. Thank you so much for joining on another Super Sunday workshop. And this time we are getting into the details of gamification in education. Well, every Sunday when we choose a topic, we make sure that the topic is kind of applicable to all the subject teachers and everyone who is interested in education. And I think it should be the general public as well. Interestingly, only educators participate, and that's how it's marketed as well. That's completely fine. We notice that there are some family members who are watching this right now, and this particular session is going to really talk about something that's very common, but something that we have forgotten over the period of time. Games are part of our life, and gamification is what drives a human being. In fact, when we say about the most cherished moments of our life, most people come to the judgment saying very instantly that I love my school days. I love my college days, or the times when you actually sat together with the same age group, probably of students and colleagues or peers, however you put it across, and everybody would have had a good time gossiping about someone or having a small game on a particular day, or having that race to go and catch the bus so that your friend also catches the same bus, something like that. It could be a lot of similarities, and that's what makes life at that particular moment quite interesting. And in fact, over the period of time, once people get into the job market, start working for the family, responsibility creeps in, and still, this habit of talking what happened in the past, especially with your friends and family, makes it even more memorable, and you feel nostalgic about it. Why? Because again, there has been a sense of games present over there. Now, why I'm using the word games, we'll talk about it very soon. In fact, I still remember the times when some of the teachers, my teachers, who used to sit in the staff room and gossip about 15 years what used to be like when I joined the school 15 years back. There was nothing existing over here, but now that I've done this, so there is a sense of nostalgia present out there, right? Now this aspect, after a very long time, once you become very serious in life and once you start becoming whoever you are, maybe a doctor or a teacher for that matter, suddenly one day you'll play a game in the classroom or staff room, and then you really enjoy that. And that particular day, when you enjoy, you remember your childhood days once again. So the point is, it's like, and when you do something really childish, so-called childish, you say that dil to bacha hai ji, something like that. So it's like you're always there, and everybody wanted to get into games, and gamification of life is more of a topic rather than gamification in education. Today we're going to stick to that part of education to quite a large extent. However, this is something that everybody can easily relate to, not only the teachers, even the human beings who are in another profession. So that's the reason we thought of this particular activity. And moreover, right now, I think it's going to be winter break very soon. Most schools in the country are going to go on a holiday in the last week of December. Let's plan a game this last week of December to learn something so that the children come back. I think just now pre-boards would have got over for some schools, right? And then, get back into action of the studies, but in a gamified manner. So let's quickly understand this particular aspect of gamification. Gamification is directly related to one important science called as, I would say, the attitude. Now, when we talk about any learning process, knowledge, skills, and attitude plays an important role, and this comes under the cognitive science of Bloom's taxonomy, where he says the brain or the learning can be divided into cognitive domain area of learning, psychomotor domain area of learning, and finally the affective domain area of learning, which is all about emotions. And that's how social and emotional learning became an important activity. NEP came up with mentions about playway method of learning things, especially in the primary classes. Why not in the higher classes? It should be there in the higher classes as well, right? Let me show you one really interesting thing about NEP over here. You'll get a great idea. So this is gamification in education. We are going to talk from a pedagogical perspective rather than the curriculum. In fact, why I mentioned this pedagogy is very important for us to understand teachers. We need to remember one very interesting fact, that when we talk about artificial intelligence taking over teachers, or one teacher replacing another teacher, all these aspects of uh, our performance in a particular class or in a society, the way we talk to someone, it does not depend on the content or the context. I'll repeat it. It does not dependent on the not on the content at all. For example, if I have Sukhdira ma'am present out there, she's teaching in an ICSE school, that has got nothing to do with Sukhdira's character. But the second aspect of any teaching process is basically the pedagogy, how you talk. Now that particular aspect makes a huge difference in a person's character. So when I say Sukhdira ma'am is an ICC teacher, that doesn't give me a lot of information. But Sukhdira ma'am is a great teacher, so that gives me a lot of information. Now this word great has got a lot of characteristics. She's very jovial in the class. She includes a lot of games in the class. She takes care of individual students, something like that. I hope you're able to understand. So gamification in education cannot be a content or a curriculum. It's more of a pedagogy, the method of talking to someone. I don't even want to put it the method of teaching the students. It's method of talking to someone. Let's go forward and understand. And today we are at the 91st Super Sunday workshop. Very soon we'll be touching the 100 mark. And I really hope, all the consistent people out there who are there right now on Zoom and on YouTube and also watch this video a little later, I would like to sincerely thank and, take this opportunity to appreciate everyone for your sincere efforts every Sunday to learn something. Anyways, these are some of the things that NEP mentions. One very interesting thing about NEP that I liked about gamification is they mentioned about gamification is quite an apt and easy thing, especially in the areas of languages. Look at this. The teaching of all languages will be enhanced through innovative and experiential methods, including through gamification and apps. Basically, digitalization by weaving in the cultural aspects of the languages, such as films, theaters, storytelling, poetry, and music, and by drawing connections with various relevant subjects with real life experiences. Thus, the teaching of languages will also be based on experiential learning pedagogy. So when we talk about experiences, these experiences need not be just about hands-on activities. It could be also about an experience in a story. Today we'll get into some of the stories. It'll be something related to an activity that you perform to learn something, which could be theater as well. Dramatization of things. Actually, I really like this aspect. I'm a little going away from the context. Being a human, one very nice thing that we have got as a character is the opportunity and the ability to actually appreciate things around. It's like, and there is a very beautiful word in Tamil, which we call as rasippu tanmai. I mean, basically it's like how much you can enjoy something, and that's what makes us very different from any other this thing. So that enjoyment or appreciation of things around, if that is brought into education with every topic, then the learning actually takes a different curve altogether, which is in a positive direction. We'll talk about it. And especially languages play an important role in that area. How do you put the right words? When do you use this particular word or a statement? And something like, it's like, art of speaking, basically. Secondly, content creation. This is present in page number 15 under the area of experiential learning. Next is content creation, digital repository, and dissemination. They talk about digital repository of information for all the subjects and all the topics. In that, they say that a digital repository of content, including creation of coursework, learning games and simulation, augmented reality and virtual reality will be developed with a clear public system for ratings by users on effectiveness and quality. In fact, right now, very recently, CBSE released one circular on, I think it was called as Sati, right? Which was related to entrance exams. So if a child wants to learn something related to IIT JEE, you have all the free and open source resources. You just have to click on it and you'll have all the video audio lectures of each and everything. If you know, do you know this, by the way? I would request you to go check CBSE Academic website right now. Very recent circular talking about it. If you know it, you can put that link on the chat. If anybody knows, put the link on the circular link of the circular on the chat. In fact, for fun-based learning, student-appropriate tools like apps, gamification of Indian art and culture in multiple languages with clear operating instructions will also be created. A reliable backup mechanism for disseminating e-content to students will be provided. So this is again, work in progress, and many of you are, I'm pretty sure you're looking at it and you're doing it in the class. But let's get back to the roots of gamification. For that, I would like to stop share the screen for a few seconds and quickly talk about something very interesting. See, the gamification aspect is all about experiences. It's all about making sure the child gets involved. There is an engagement. There is a sense of competition which makes sure that everybody would like to be on the spotlight rather than being first or second or third. It's not just about that. Being on the spotlight. Every child, right? Forget about the child. Every human being, in fact, seeks attention. We want to be noticed, and people do anything and everything to get noticed, right? In fact, in a staff room, a teacher would do a little extra activity, go and brag about it to the principal and get noticed, which the other teachers might not like at times, but that's an important attitude. It's an important attitude to make sure that you do something so that people really respect you and notice you. Now, this is very high at a certain level. Terms and conditions apply at a certain level, but this is very high among the students. So this particular aspect of getting the students involved is actually the science of gamification. This is not only with the students, but also with the human beings. Remember, we began the session by saying that gamification is our part of life. I'm going to show you one very interesting video where an organization took the marketing campaigning of marketing the product to the next level, and that will give you mind-blowing understanding of everything around us is gamified. Let me share my screen and put across. Will give word building games are really good. We're going to talk about that, ma'am. We're definitely going to talk about it. But right now, I'm sharing the audio and I'm sharing the screen. I would request you to please watch this. Nestle, Coca-Cola, Hindustan Unilever, these are some of the really amazing companies which come up with amazing marketing campaigns. Watch this. Look at the activity the people get involved in.
To get more people to try Coke Zero, we created an entire campaign that they could literally drink. First, we built a billboard that served real Coke Zero to thousands of fans. Then, we poured Coke Zero to people all over the country.
Your TV is about to pour you a Coke Zero.
This is a drinkable commercial.
We partnered with Shazam and created a new way of using their technology.
Shazam now to drink it.
By Shazamming the spot, the Coke Zero from the screen was poured right into people's phones, whether they were at home, at a concert, or among 80,000 people at the NCAA final game. Every interaction ended with a free Coke Zero that could be redeemed at major retail stores across the US. Even when there was no screen, we poured Coke Zero using just sound. From ads that became cups, to flyers that became straws, to tweets that poured Coke Zeros in 140 characters, to drinkable posters that use Shazam to turn people's phones into digital straws. Every single ad put a Coke Zero in people's hands. So next time you're thirsty, drink an ad.
First of all, in no way we are marketing Coca-Cola in any manner. This is definitely considering this to be an education platform. I'm very strongly condemning. In fact, it's not at all ideal to drink Coke for a child. Definitely not. Even you shouldn't. But the point over here is this particular advertisement, crossed all the aspects of gamification. Look at the way they have done that. It's like so tempting. You open a magazine and you find a Coke bottle over there. I mean, basically on the picture, you think it's just a print. But when you open it, it actually becomes a straw. You show the straw to the nearest store, and there they will give you a bottle of Coke free of cost. You can actually literally use your glass in front of the TV, and if the ad is actually pouring the Coke, you can get that recorded on the mobile phone and show that to the nearest store, and you get another Coke. So first, for the first time, if you like it, you can drink an ad. Now that's amazing marketing, right? People got involved over here, and once people got involved over here, it's like you got their attention, and once you got the attention, that's it. You just have to sell the marketing, I mean the bottles over there. I found this to be really interesting, but something more gamified. I would like to show you one more advertisement, and this will give you a very good idea that yes, everything that's present around us, it's actually not about the product, it's about the hook to the product. The hook to the product plays more importantly. Let me show this to you. This will also give you a very good understanding. And for this, let me play the video to see the screen. Yes. You would have seen this somewhere, teachers, actually. So this is basically augmented reality taken into consideration. So you be there right in front of the camera, and the bottle, basically the Nescafe Gold, kind of tries to understand who the person is standing, and it'll match with the shadow. So you move here, it'll move. You move here, it'll move, and the drops will actually keep on, dripping in the bottle, something like that. You catch it properly, you get the QR code, you win the game, and immediately you can scan it, and you get the bottle free of cost. Again, people got the attention. I hope you're able to understand. Now, this particular aspect of gamification, it's not just these two ads that I was talking about, multiple advertisements. In fact, I remember Lenskart coming up with a beautiful ad on augmented reality of the glasses. You don't have to come to the stores to check if your glasses match your face or not. There's this face, this camera. You just have to look at the camera and select the glasses that you want. It'll kind of get fit, and you'll be like, huh, this looks good, something like that. Similarly, I think there was another very good brand, if I'm not wrong, if it's Peter England or I don't remember, Louis Philippe or someone. So where what they did is they had a proper mirror. You just stand there, tap on the shirt that you want, and the moment you click on it, it'll put on your body, and it'll be like this is the perfect shirt or something like that. So all these are some of the methods for the people to attract other people in getting them involved with something. So gamification is not something related to that's part of our school life or education. It's not just there. It's present everywhere and every day. Cosmetic industry also does this to the next level. You're right. Am I stuck? Yeah, I'm stuck a little bit, I guess. No. Let's quickly go with the next part of what's there in the education sector. So when we talk about gamification, there's another very good thing about game-based learning and gamification of learning. Now, when we talk about game-based learning and gamification of learning, these are just very two simple things with a thin line of difference. When we talk about game-based learning, it is about utilization of a game. So there is a game, and inside that there is a content. Gamification of learning is you have the content, and to learn the content, you create a game on the spot. I hope you're able to understand. For example, sometimes some teachers would come up with this idea. If you do that, you can put on the topic over here, on the chat over here. Suppose if you do, so if you want to call out the names of the students, if you want to call out the names of the students to answer a question, you would actually pick up the chit from the bowl. Or you'll ask the monitor to come up with. So some teachers I've seen, especially during my school days, they prepared the chits of each and every student with their name and had that forever for that particular academic year. So in that particular time, whenever the monitor comes, they will pick up the sheet and they'll be like, oh, this particular boy. Now, interestingly, when there are 35, 40 students in the class, every student is going to become attentive until the time the chit is picked. So what's really interesting here is it's not about the question and the answer given by one child. It is about the attention of the teachers, attention of the students, which was caught by the teacher in that small time frame of monitor coming from the bench, coming to the table, picking up the chit basically, and reading out the name. You got the attention students only at that particular point, and it's very important for the teachers to speak the maximum at that particular time. It's like you explain things at that particular spin wheel could be another example that could be done. Yeah, you can have spin wheel for 40 students is quite a task, but still if you can manage to do that, but that can be done digitally, right? I'm talking about the physical setup, wherein chit could be one idea. I've seen one more example where a dice is rolled, and if it's an even number, a boy has to answer it, some boy. If it's an odd number, a girl has to answer it, something like that, and the teacher can pick it up, something like that. Or else if it's a debate sort of thing, boys versus girls, and this is quite an interesting thing, especially in the schools, because there's a lot of naiveness among the students when we talk about such topics. So all these things could be an activity or a game that could be. So this is more of a gamification of learning. It's so you would have come across the situation where children really like to get examples from games. For example, Minecraft has got this amazing option of Minecraft in education. Now, in that particular Minecraft in education, they create a world, and that world will be dependent on the lesson plan. Something like if I have to learn about Taj Mahal today or some monument, I'm considering monument because there's construction involved. And on Minecraft Education Edition, you'll find the actual monument being constructed by the students over there, and you can actually roam around. You can invite your other friends to look at your monument, and you can roam around. To that extent, people use the digital aspect as well. How much ever times you save the princess, how much ever times you save the princess of this game called as Super Mario, you still feel like continuing the game, thinking that there is an end to it, but there is no end to it. That's the power of games. Let me go to row wise. Also can be asked. Yeah, you could do that. You could do that. That's amazing. That's amazing. Let's play a small game, teachers. I really like this particular platform called as Word Wall, and now I would like to make you a little nostalgic, just with the continuation of the marketing aspect. So what we're going to do right now is I'm going to go to the word wall game, and I'm going to share my screen. I would request your participation on the chat. Okay, you could immediately tell me, the answers to it. So what I'm going to do is we're going to continue on the advertisement and trends of gamification, because that is something that every one of us can relate to very easily. I'm going to show you the freebie. Generally, in order to market something, people came up with this idea of, if you want to, if you buy so and so product, you get this free of costs. I hope you're able to understand, right? In fact, I remember a chocolate. If you like, it's a candy sort of a thing. After having that, you can use that as a wristband. You remember what I'm talking about? I'm not going to tell you the name. So I'm going to put all the freebies out there on the this thing, and you need to tell me what brand it is or what product it is. Shall we start, teachers? Okay, here we go. In fact, you need to be really spontaneous. Let's see who's the person who's able to remember this fast. So the game starts right now. I hope you're able to see the screen. Come on. Wait a minute. I am not able to click on it. Okay, here it comes. Okay, so you remember this? So there is a ball over here, and this particular ball used to be free with. Come on. You're able to see the screen? Exactly. I'm talking about the brand over here. What brand are we talking about? Are we talking about Milo? No, you don't have to count the number of balls over here. You need to tell me the brand with which this was associated with. Exactly. It was there with Horlicks as well. It was there with Milo as well. But right now, whatever I'm showing over here, it was basically, these are Costco balls. Absolutely right. This is more of Boost is the right answer. Absolutely. So when I click on flip, I actually get the Boost out there. In fact, there was even MS Dhoni sign on Boost bottles. In most times, in order to buy Boost, no, 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 no. In order to buy the ball, people used to buy the Boost. And this is quite nostalgic. This used to be there in my times. Let's go with the next one. Let's go with the next one. Now comes in. Watch this. Can somebody tell me over here? What is this? Now, this is basically the Tazos that was quite famous at that particular time. And these are all Pokemon cards. You need to tell me it's not Kinder Joy. No, it's not Kinder Joy. These are Pokemons. Exactly. Somebody got it. Ranita ma'am, Madhuri ma'am, Shweta Priya ma'am. You're right. Vatsala Devi. We did not even know there existed something like this. Literally to take over Lay's, Kurkure. All these brands were quite prominent at the time, and these guys wanted to promote something called as Cheetos. Exactly. It came with cracks as well, if I'm not wrong. But this is actually Cheetos. So if I flip, you'll get the right answer. Cheetos. Absolutely. In fact, you don't get the freebies in. Sometimes, I'm not sure if you remember this, we used to get 2 Tazos in one packet. And that day used to be like we won a lottery. I got the Pokemon of Pikachu and the Charmander both on the same day. Oh my God, the people really get excited about it. And there is this trend of exchange. I don't have Pikachu, you have the Charmander, right? Well, let's exchange it. It used to be a culture among the students. I'm not sure if you're able to relate this, but if you do, your childhood was awesome. Parents used to be really worried about, these packets. Let's go forward. Let's go forward. Let's go to the next one. Can somebody tell me this? This is quite famous even now. These are some of the toys that are present within this particular product. What is this called as? I hope you're able to notice this. I hope you're able to get into this. A simple one. Okay. What will flip game? Oh, Taruna ma'am, you can see this. Oh, exactly. You got that. Mahalakshmi ma'am. What is it called as? Kinder Joy. Absolutely. This was Kinder Joy. Yeah, Kinder Joy is a plague, if I'm not wrong, among the students. And this is still quite interesting. It's not about the taste. And taste is also actually good. I'm not promoting it in any manner, but still, Kinder Joy, and this is the right answer. Right? You get the toys within it. Let's go to one more last thing. One more last thing. This is very old, very famous, and parents hate it. Teachers hate it. If it's there on the child, people actually hate it. These are actually the tattoos. Yeah. Our times tattoos or my times tattoos. I don't know. Exactly. These came up free of cost with something called as a chewing gum boomer. Exactly. Yeah, boomer, the chewing gum. Exactly. Yeah. Boomer is the right answer. When I flip on it, you'll get the boomer out there, the strawberry boomer. Absolutely. That's absolutely right. So basically, this particular aspect, whatever we did right now, is actually called as the flashcard games. I'm stopping the screen share. And you remembered your childhood, right? That was the intention, by the way. Yeah, gamification is all about children, right? Nostalgia revisited. It was very famous, exactly. I remember the times when I used to have the tattoo right over here, and I have to hide it, and so I used to wear the full sleeve shirt. And when the teacher used to catch me, I was never told anything because my father was my own teacher. But he was, bombarded with complaints by the teachers that your son, what happened? He should set an example to all the students. He is having tattoo all over the bodies, things like that. So that's how people used to, and it is not a bad thing when you look into the history of Indian culture. Women and men used to have a lot of tattoos on their bodies, not the boomer ones, the real ones. So we need to talk about it, we need to understand, we need to have an exposure on that regard. But the point here is few minutes of gaming. This the same thing could be about photosynthesis. You can talk about a picture and students trying to guess what concept are we conveying through that particular picture. And you just have, so flashcards could be a very effective way of conducting gamification, or I would say game based learning in the class. And I find it to be really effective because every student, they have to look at one element called as that flashcard, and everybody will try to look at it. So there's an attention grabbed over there as well, and there's a lot of engagement. Does anybody play, by the way, flashcards? Yeah, it was a publicity, absolutely. Nowadays least bothered. Oh, is that so? Okay, okay, students show crazy interest on these items. Yeah, of course you do too. You had Mowgli stickers, exactly. Okay, dice game. You play dice game. That's interesting. That's interesting. Actually, I remember, one of these aspects of gaming where the teacher used to call out the students' names with the concept names. In fact, it's like the most naughty boy of a class used to be called as potassium. Why? Potassium is the most reactive element. Nice, no? And you can't take that as negative. You can take that as both positive and negative, but it depends on how the teacher puts it across. So call that potassium. Basically, I'm calling Akash, something like that. So you have this role plays given to the students, and that kind of remains, like that for a very long time. In fact, I remember discussing with my friends, even now, my school day friends, we forgot the original name of the child and we started calling him Hitler, because I remember my social science teachers setting the role play, and that particular boy was considered to be a Hitler in that particular class. Role plays can be another interesting method of engaging with the children under game-based learning. Let me show you something even more interesting right after this. Where is it? I would request you to please, watch this. In fact, gamification is an important attribute that can have multiple contexts. Let me share my screen rather than talking about it. You use flashcards. Oh, okay, that's great. The problem with gamification is that you need to prepare a lot. Yeah, that's the only trouble. And you don't have time to prepare. That's the reason you don't do that. But this is how it is. So gamification can be categorized into multiple categories, but whatever is mentioned is not really exhaustive. It's just a simple thing. You can correct me if I'm wrong, and you can have more additions to it. But this one is really important. Gamification with the context of time. Now, once you get into the class, for every subject, whatever topic we are teaching, we can have weekly targets or monthly targets or yearly targets. Like 21, you need to complete so many chapters, so many activities, and if you complete that within a week, you will get a badge. So there is something called as leaderboards arranged in the classroom, and every time when the child is coming, they will erase the previous person's name and add the next person, because who is star of the week, just like employee of the month comes into picture, star of the week for that particular subject, something like that. So all these things could be from the time context of time. In a week you complete this much, in a month you complete this much, in a year you complete this much. That is with respect to context of time. I really like context of time, because you know that there are 3 more days to complete my task, and I'll try my level best. You don't give up that easily. Next is context of content. This is also quite interesting, because um, this particular aspect of context of content is like, for example, cover 6 days. Okay, cover this chapter in 6 days, something like that. 6 day challenge. So, for example, cover 2 units in 6 days, something like that. So, here in this case, it's not about the activity that the child is doing, it is about the content learning itself. So, it could be complete this project within 3 days, something like that. Now, again, this particular aspect can be compared with the time as well, but it's more of content orientation. So time need not be really a great factor over here. Role play is again context of content. I told you, right? He's the potassium of our class, the most reactive person, the naughtiest boy in the class, something like that. She is the oxygen of our class, something like that. Without her, the class is actually going to be quite boring. And good that she came to the school today. I think most of you know this, right? If one teacher, a colleague of yours in the staff room is actually absent, the whole day actually kinds of feel incomplete. Is it like that? Or is it like, I don't care. I'm really happy if nobody comes to the school. I'm the only person going to the school. That could also be the case. It's completely on you. But anyways, the point is, role play actually makes a lot of sense. Context of content. I actually have this as well. There is something called as mnemonics. Mnemonics is again a method with which a teacher can have. See, my very educated mother just shows the nine planets. That is something which has got everything to do with the solar system, right? This is what I remember right now. And then we have the reactivity series to remember all the elements. And there is a mnemonic for that, which I forgot right now, to be frank with you. But if you remember some mnemonics, if you use some mnemonics, I would request you to please put it on the chat so that the other teachers can understand. Oh, this is how it can be done. So mnemonics also plays a very good role in remembering things, especially the place where the remembrance is important. For example, the concepts of chemistry where we said about periodic table, the concepts in biology where this is how the functionality happens. However, I am a firm believer of believing in things which comes up with strong scientific reasoning. But there are things where things are arranged just to remember. For example, periodic table. Yeah, it's a representation just to remember. That's it. There's no science behind it. Something like that. Of course, there's a lot of logic behind it, but not natural science. Yeah. Do I make sense? Right. Okay. Leo's is TV diminished. Oh, that's basically the lens. Then you have got trigonometry. Okay. Okay. Oh my God. Sometimes children come up with very creative mnemonics, on teachers. Like Praveen is professor SC muzzle hari chair se gire, something like that. It's some really nonsense, but it has insights and meaning when you really look at the content. So that's that, fanboys resistors. Okay. Vibgyor, how did I forget Vibgyor to remember the rainbow colors? My teachers used to call me Atankwadi, being naughty. Oh, Divya ma'am, that's great, and I'm really happy that you're really proud about it. But basically she was insulting you, right? But good that you remember. Okay, then reactivity series काशीनाथ का मली आलू जरा फीके पकाते हैं. Wow, Rohini ma'am, that's interesting. Kedar, oh, that's Kashinath and Kedarnath. Why everybody's there with only Shiva? You could change if you want. I call Bahubali. What do you mean by that? Swarupa ma'am, give the explanation as well. Son by 1 to 3, direct and indirect. Oh wow, that's interesting. BB Roy of Great Britain had a very good wife. Why am I forgetting? But I remember this. What is this? BB Roy of Great Britain had a very good wife. I'm forgetting the mnemonics, but I remember the statement. That is another trouble. You will remember the statement, but you'll forget. Who is strong? Nature boy. Okay, fine. You are all coming up with mnemonics, but unfortunately, I'm not able to connect the con- concept over here. I call their roll number according to elements. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Oh, resistors. Exactly. The color coding of resistors. Thank you so much for bringing. You know what? I'm an electrical engineer. Shame on me. Thank you so much. Let's go forward, teachers. Next is non-context based games. Actually, non-context based is like it will not have anything to do with I would say content. It is something that I have seen some students in my apartment. When I just go, and they'll they all playing, and suddenly they'll be standing and they'll be like, let's see who first goes and touches the tree and comes back. देखते कौन पहला वो ट्री पकड़ के फिर से आता है. Something like that. No, 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 no sense about it. They'll just simply stand and suddenly they start playing this. So it's an innate quality, I feel, gamifications and games, and they'll just simply run and come back, and they're not even worried about the rewards. They don't care who's first or second. It's just the process of that particular game. Nice, no? So I like non-context based games also. For example, pick up that chit, pass the ball and ball game. I remember our principal, my principal, what she used to do is she used to come to the staff room. You remember? I'm mostly there in the staff room only. So she will be like, who is the person responsible for the assembly next week? Every teacher is given this task, and this is generally done with a ball. A football used to be brought by the PT sir, and the principal used to turn around and play the music just like musical chair. And the moment the music is played, everybody passes on the ball and she stops it. Whichever teacher has it, unfortunately, has to take care of the assembly. Do you like taking care of assembly, by the way? I'm not sure if you do that, but if you do, then just put it on the chat, because that's a rare personality. Taking care of assembly, you need to really be on time to the school. Forget about the being on time, you need to be early. I do not know if you know that. But anyways, next is context of a story. Now, this is very important, teachers. According to me, it's my personal opinion. Gamification and game-based learning, both, if assisted with the right storytelling, that has got amazing neuroscience logic behind it. It's like the connection you will never forget. You'll never forget. I'm going to show you one example right after this. So, and this involves a lot of dramatization. See, you will once you get into storytelling mode of gamification, it's like it's going to be imprinted in your mind, and that's what cinema is all about. You don't forget what happens in a movie. Why? Because the storytelling has come into picture. There's always a game of, hero and villain chase. Somebody has to win. Maybe the villain is the society or a government, or the personification of some element, something like that, right? So storytelling becomes really important in games. If you can bring that, it's next level, but the preparation involved is really high. But with all these AI tools coming into picture, I think you can really do it in a fantastic manner. So for example, let me talk about it. So dramatization of the academic year could be done. So I remember one of the schools where they had put a huge map which looks like snakes and ladders. So each month is put over there. So this month is known for so and so. This month is known for so and so. And when you complete all the months, by the end of the month, whatever was your story gets concluded over there. And in every month, the calendar gets divided into further subtask, and the children have to come and do something. So the complete academic year is planned in the form of a game, but this game is assisted with a story, right? See, you will be able to, I'll tell you, when a cinema or a movie becomes a hit, when people love it, it's only because it's not just about the elements of action sequences or the romance out there. The story needs to be present out there. Story carries a lot of emotions, and that emotional trigger is very important for any teaching process. I'll show you something. Trojan horse story of history for explaining Trojan horse virus is a very good example. Yes, Sanjita ma'am, you're right. Class-wise assembly on motivational, inspirational topics, that could be done. But this, I'm talking about the story that I'm talking about, is like a prolonged one for the complete academic year. Next is like some people come up with almost all the schools have house kind of a structure. Like this is a Tagore house, or this is Gandhi's house, or this is some great leader out there's house, something like that. In my times, in my school, it used to be blue house, green house, red house, like that. And every house used to have a head captain. Basically, red house captain is so and so person, something like that. And every house used to have a character assigned to them. So this particular house has got so and so character, and in that academic year, they need to portray so and so about that character. I hope you're able to understand. So if I have to give you an example, this house is a blue house where I was present predominantly, and this house has this attribute of calming down things. They are very calm, they're very composed. But if a challenge comes, they become really aggressive and things like that. So there used to be a proper, these things, the laid out traits of that particular house. And every activity that we used to do, we used to follow those character traits. It's not like we were having that character. No, the house has the character and you need to follow that. So that was that particular attribute probably gave us some character attributes. For example, these days, even if I don't make a mistake or something wrong, I mean, quickly my first word would be, I'm really sorry if I did that. You don't have to be too submissive about it, but the ability to say sorry immediately, even thinking that you might be wrong, is a great attribute. I hope you're able to understand. Now, that was not nurtured by one teacher telling me. It got nurtured because that was the character trait of that particular house. So I really like that particular attribute. Let me show you something really interesting after this. And for that, I need to stop share the screen. And I'm going to read out a simple story, and that will be the last part of our session today. Gamification is actually quite a huge topic. When I was researching, I was like, how can we complete this in 1 hour? But anyway, the basic insights I wanted to give. Watch this. You are able to see the screen, right? Now, see, this is very important, and you need to guess what exactly are we talking about. So the tale of Xylo and Flo, the tale of Xylo and Flo, the lifeline siblings. The lifeline siblings. Watch this very carefully, teachers. It's going to just take 2 minutes. In the heart of a magnificent forest, there stood this giant oak tree named Old Roots. Deep inside its trunk lived two magical siblings, Xylo and Flo, who had a unique and important job to keep Old Roots alive and thriving. I hope you're there with me. Xylo, the older brother, was a strong and silent type. He wore a sturdy green cape and carried a bucket that never emptied. What was his mission? To carry water and minerals all the way up from the roots to every branch and leaf of Old Roots. Old Roots is basically the oak tree that we're talking about. He always worked in one direction, upwards. because that's the only way water could flow. It's funny, right? Flo, the younger sister, was lively, bubbly, and full of energy. She wore a colorful scarf representing the sugary food she carried. Unlike her brother, Flo's job was to transport food made by the leaves during photosynthesis to every part of the tree. From the topmost twig to the deepest root, Flo didn't just move upwards like her brother, she could travel in both directions, sharing food wherever it was needed. Are you able to guess what are we talking about over here? Exactly. We're talking about xylem and phloem, basically the tissues. Yeah. Now look at the next one, the Great Crisis. So the first story part is actually talking about setting up the context of the characteristics of xylo and flow. But when you go to the next one, then immediately the Great Crisis, this is where drama begins. One sunny morning, Xylo and Flo woke up to an alarming sound. Old roots groaned in pain as its leaves began to droop. The siblings knew something was wrong. Flo, check the leaves, Xylo shouted, dashing towards the roots. I'll look underground. Xylo plunged deep into the roots and discovered the problem. The soil was bone dry and there wasn't enough water for him to carry to the top. He gritted his teeth and tried his best to bring up whatever little moisture he could find. Meanwhile, Flo zipped up the leaves. She found the leaves had been working overtime to produce food, but there wasn't enough water to help with photosynthesis. The food reserves were running low, and old roots couldn't stay healthy without Xylo's help. Now, this is where the drama begins. Now, the drama in action, basically the plan. Xylo and Flo met back at the trunk. Flo was frantic. Xylo, if we can't fix this, old roots will wither away. Xylo thought for a moment. Flo, we need to help. We need help from the sky. The clouds must send rain. But what can we do? We're just the lifeline of this particular tree. Flo asked. Xylo smiled faintly. Even lifelines can send a signal. Basically, they're talking about the prayers. Together, they sent a distress signal. The leaves released a special chemical into the air, a message for the clouds above. The winds carried their plea far and wide. And finally, the solution to the climax, the rain arrives. The clouds heard their cry and gathered above the forest. Soon, a gentle rain began to fall. Xylo cheered as he felt water rushing into the roots. He immediately began carrying the fresh water upwards, refilling the tree's thirsty branches. Flo danced around, delivering the food reserve she had saved the roots and other parts of the tree. Old Roots sighed with relief as its leaves perked up again. A lesson in teamwork. That night, under the moonlight sky, Flo looked at her brother and said, Xylo, we did it. Old Roots is alive because of us. Xylo nodded. We may be different, Flo, but we can't survive without each other. Water and food both are needed to keep life going. From that day on, the siblings worked harder than ever, proud of their roles in the cycle of life. Xylem and Phloem became the unsung heroes of the forest, ensuring that every tree, big or small, stood tall and strong. Just like Xylo and Flo, every part of nature has a role to play. Teamwork and balance are kept or what keep life flourishing, whether in a tree or in our own lives. That's it. So this is that story. Basically, Xylem and Phloem in CBSE, if you see, it's actually starting probably in grade 7 or 8. But this story method was adopted in one of the schools, which is basically an IB school, and I think students were learning this in grade 4 itself. So this particular aspect of storytelling does not only talk about the ability of a teacher to talk about complex topics at an early age, but also gives clarity early, which makes the child learn more complex aspects in future. Now here Xylo and Flo could actually be two children in the class, and they can enact this, and probably that can get dramatized. And that's how storytelling and gamification plays or gives a lifelong impact of remembering and retaining and using that information in day-to-day life. I hope you got the context, teachers. Yeah. So more importantly, when we talk about game-based learning or gamification, it's not that you do not know about it. Everybody knows about it. Only fact is, Super Sunday workshops could act like reminders that, hey, yes, I know this. I forgot. I should start implementing it. Probably the next time itself you actually come up with an idea of some gamification. It's really very interesting. Once you get into the habit of having multiple games in the class, you'll be surprised that you will not stop teaching without games. It's like you get addicted to it. I need to have some game. I need to have some game every time, every day. Let me show you one important aspect by Elon Musk. Actually, he was talking about why it is important to have games. It's a simple thing that everybody knows, but I want you to hear it from him. So let's quickly share the screen, and I hope you're able to see this. Watch this.
You want education to be like as close to a video game as possible, like a good video game. Like, you do not need to tell your kid to play video games. They will play video games on autopilot all day. So if you can make it interactive and engaging, then you can make education far more compelling and far easier to do. So you really want to disconnect the whole grade level thing from the subjects. Allow people to progress at the fastest pace that they can or are interested in each subject. It seems like a really obvious thing. I mean, I think like most teaching today is a lot like vaudeville, where and as a result, it's just not that compelling. It's like somebody standing up there and lecturing to you, and they've done the same lecture several years in a row. They're not necessarily all that engaged or in doing it.
Do you agree with Peter Thiel about the unnecessariness of university, higher education?
A university education is often unnecessary. That's not to say it's unnecessary for all people, but I think you probably learn about as much, or the vast majority of what you're going to learn there in the first 2 years, and most of it is from your classmates. Now for a lot of companies, they do want to see the completion of the degree, because they're looking for someone who's going to persevere and see it through to the end, and that's actually what's important to them. So it really depends on what somebody's goal is. If the goal is to start a company, I would say no point in finishing college. So I think that's how it should be, and it shouldn't be that you've got like these grades where people move in lockstep, and so everyone goes through, goes like normally, we'll go through English, math, science, and so forth from like 5th grade to 6th grade to 7th grade, like it's an assembly line. But people are not objects on an assembly line. That's a ridiculous notion.
Yeah, that's it. So the first part of video mostly talked about the games where the students get the agency on doing what. For example, if there are two children playing a game called as Candy Crush, Temple Run, Super Mario, whatever it is, they tend to go to the next level based on their capabilities. So it's like if I play this game with Triveni ma'am is really good at Temple Run, so she's able to cross level 1, level 2, level 3 really fast. I'm not that good with this, but I'm really good with IGI, Call of Duty, or Super Mario for that matter. I'm really fast over here. So that particular aspect of taking students taking the in charge of what they want to learn can really happen if the whole lesson plan or the content is gamified. That's what he inferred to say. And of course, he has got his own opinion about talking about university education. Is it really necessary? According to him, and many other people say that university education is actually not necessary. Anyways, so that brings us to the end of our session on gamification of learning teachers. I hope you got a simple and a gentle perspective on what is game-based learning, gamification of learning, or gaming in education, whatever it is. And I would request you to please go through on this a little more detail. These 1 hour sessions are not like, gives, it doesn't, in fact, it just touches the very tip of an iceberg of a very deep and a detailed topic. There are multiple research papers on this, and we make sure that in these sessions we don't really use tough jargons. Like for example, we were supposed to speak on intrinsic and extrinsic motivations and disciplines with respect to gamification. That's an attitude of a gamer, so we didn't really speak about it. Okay, form is, please check it, Aarti ma'am, after some time. So the point is, once you get to know that there is a topic like this on this Sunday, I would request you to please research a little more if you get time, and act like this could act like a reminder for you. Like, I can immediately apply this in the next day itself. So that's the interesting part. In continuation to that, what we have done is, I think I would like to show you the next week's topic as well. So the next week topic is actually with respect to mental health matters. I hope I'm able to show this. Escape. Come on. Okay. And I would like to go to the Super Teacher website. Yeah. So on the Super Teacher website, superteacher.in, you can see that there is a column called as events. Under events, you will find that the next Super Sunday workshop is mental health matters. When and where? 22nd December, virtually on Zoom at 10 a.m. You just have to click on join and you'll be able to join. Our team members, Super Teacher team members, are putting the link on the chat for you to immediately access the link and register so that you get the Zoom link on that particular day. That will happen. So every topic for the following Sunday will be updated on the same Sunday, for example, today and the next Sunday as well. Based on that, you can If you're interested, you can participate. And if you're not receiving the certificates, make sure that you score 7 and above, and make sure you complete the reflection form on the same day. Remember, the reflection form will be present on the description of the YouTube live link. You can go to Super Teacher official YouTube channel, subscribe to it so that you get the notification, and you can have this description where you will have the reflection form. Yeah, so that brings me to the end of the session, teachers. Thank you so much. Great gaming with all of you today, and I hope this reminded you of some really interesting pedagogy. I would like to come back again with another interesting session in the next session. So basically, it's on mental health. So it's important, mental health, especially in terms of educators and students. So we're going to talk about that. We have spoken about social and emotional learning, emotional intelligence, but next week's topic is going to be more from the perspective of the latest incidents that are happening, and what can we do in order to get our children really strong with their EQs. Yeah, thank you so much, teachers. I would like to meet you in the next Super Sunday workshop. Until then, Jai Hind and bye, everyone. Thank you so much. Absolutely. So art integration and gamification, in fact, if you're doing art integration, you can gamify it. Gamification is part of everything. It's just like, see, gamification is part of storytelling as well. So you can't really bucket them under two different brackets. It's like a attribute. Devam Manogari ma'am, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Nandri ma'am. Meera ma'am, thank you so much. Thank you, Rabia ma'am. Good to see you. Thank you so much. Amrisha ma'am, Falguni ma'am. The link is coming on the chat. The reflection form is for the current. The meeting link is for the next. Yeah. Thank you, Saleha ma'am. Good to see you. Oh, Savitri ma'am, good to see you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Bhuvneshwari ma'am, Deepa ma'am. Thank you, Srividya ma'am. If you didn't get the certificate, please write an email to swati@superteacher.in. You'll start receiving the certificates. Definitely research more on this topic. The session reminded me of a small mnemonic is in class HSBC. Writing, heading, salutation, body, conclusion, the inner parts. I explained. Wow. Okay. That's nice. Oh, Sunita ma'am, HSBC. Nobody follows HSBC, by the way. You know that, right? Yeah, these days. Thank you so much, Pushpalata ma'am. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Usha ma'am, Vasuki ma'am. Good to see you over here, ma'am. Anita ma'am, thank you. Good morning. Spend time with your family. Have a super Sunday, teachers. Yes, Manpreet ma'am. Thank you, Sunita ma'am. Thank you, Shrat ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mahalakshmi ma'am. Thank you so much. Nisha ma'am, it's swati@superteacher.in. SWATHI@superteacher.in. Thank you, Krishna sir. Krishna Sarasat ma'am, sir. Poonam ma'am, good to see you again. Antakshari is again very good. Damsharaj, Antakshari. See, we didn't touch on all these things. I remember I researched, I put it on the paper, but couldn't really cover within 1 hour. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, Shaila ma'am. See you the next week, Atulya ma'am. Yes, Paramita ma'am, you're right. So there's reflection form and meeting link. So meeting link is for the next Super Sunday, so that you know many people said that you're not receiving the links, right? So yeah. So I thought I'll put it today here itself. Sure, Shubhra ma'am, that's a good idea actually. Thank you, Kalyani ma'am, Chaitra ma'am. Oh, Chaitra ma'am, good to see you over here. Thank you so much. Lakshmi ma'am, thank you. Let's close for the day, teachers. Have a very good time. Have a Super Sunday. Spend time with your family, teachers. I'll come back again in the next Super Sunday workshop. Bye, everyone.